Yes. We are good.
Okay. In that case, the South Carolina American Leadership Academy board meeting will come to order at 4:03 on January 22nd. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance followed by invocation. So if you would, stand and join us.
We pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you please lead us in invocation?
Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for your providence in the weather. And we're just trusting in your goodness to get us through the next several days. I pray that everyone that's gathered here today, you would see to it that they make their way home safely. And I just pray that you would be with us today during this meeting, give us wisdom and grace, and help us to do all things with the benefit of the students and the families that are impacted by ALA and MOC. In your name we pray.
Amen.
All right. Thank you, Amy. So at this time, I'm going to ask our board member, Sam, to read ALA's mission statement, as it reminds us why we exist and brings our discussions and decisions around our corporate objectives.
In support of the family to provide the best educational experience to as many students as possible in a moral and wholesome environment.
Right. Thank you. The next order of business is to establish attendance. So I'm going to ask Whitney as our secretary to call the roll.
Sure. So Chairman Dubois is here. Cassie Walls, Whitney Hendricks, Samantha Peterson are all here. We do have a quorum. We're missing Jennifer and Sabrina today.
All right. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Next is the approval of our agenda. The agenda has been distributed. Are there any corrections or additions to the agenda?
I'd love to add in the closed session talking about the process that we're going to follow when it comes to evaluating directors, and see where like Charter One's thoughts are on that. That's something that we haven't had a chance to do in the past few years that we've been a school. So even if that is just an update on like, yep, we're working on it or whatever, I'd like for us all to potentially be on the same page with that in terms of what things will be considered when it comes to director evaluations. I feel like May is going to come up really quick.
Yeah. That I'm just it could be closer.
It could be.
It's just processes.
If it's whatever, however you guys want to do it.
Process, it can be open.
Yeah, we can definitely.
Is there a motion to approve to include the evaluation processes of the director and the EMO? I was thinking Charter One, the EMO to the agenda.
So you made the motion.
I made the
You're
motion.
looking for a second?
Or I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be, but it's a piece of
If it has a feeling covering an added support, we don't have to go through it.
Okay. Abby, is this going to be already included in your report, the process of the?
It's not, but I'm happy to share that as I don't have it written down, but I'm happy to share that as part of the campus report.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So you need to add it or not?
If you want to share it as part of the campus report, then I think that's fine.
Okay. Okay.
Just want some dialogue around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Okay.
That'd be great. Thank you.
All right. So that will be included in the campus report. Sorry for the okay. So then in that case, knowing that that's a part of the campus report, are there any other corrections or additions? Okay. So hearing no objections, the agenda will be approved as presented. Next on our agenda is our approval of the minutes from our regular and special call meetings, of which there were several. Has everyone had a chance to review the meeting minutes? Any amendments? Good. Seeing none, they will be approved by common consent. Next on our agenda is public comment. It does not appear that we had anyone today. And if there's any members of the public online, we do want to welcome you, but also let you know that if you do want to make a comment, then you have to come in person or submit the comment ahead of time through the online link. But I'm not sure if there's any members of the public online.
Levi Dawkins, if you're in the building, come to the crowd.
That was coming from there.
I do too.
Oh, no.
I was gonna say, that's loud.
We just have,
Seems like
we just have
they-
those.
Yeah. Okay. That will not be in the minutes. Okay, so next up is campus reports, and we will start with Abby.
all right, sorry, I was messing with technology, so now it's going to take me just 2 seconds. Okay. All right. Well, in the spirit of turning points, well, first I want to just acknowledge that we have our new Blythewood directors attending the board meeting today. We have Dennis and Jared who are here. We were at the Blythewood campus earlier today. They are here now, boots on the ground and ready to get to work. So they were already busy making plans this morning, so we're excited to also have them here. So in that same vein, we are now going to format the campus report to really just encompass some of the same types of things that we included before, but it will be more statewide and we'll go through the campuses as a whole, what we're focusing on in terms of enrollment, in terms of academics and upcoming events. So for general updates, we do have Meet the Director for our Blythewood campus on January 29th at 5:30 p.m. We would love to have our board members in attendance. We're excited. We also were talking with our marketing team today, and in terms of Blythewood interest list, not just for this event, but just the interest list in Blythewood, we have over 4,000 people on that interest list, which is one of the highest interest lists ALA has had.
Top 3 for sure,
Yeah.
especially in the time.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So really, really, really exciting. I want to give a brief update on Announce. So as you know, at the start of the year, as we were talking at the end of last year, we were really trying to hit January 1 as our start. Well, as implementation goes, that's sometimes where we find our bugs. And so with upper school in particular, we noticed that the way that the system is rostering under teachers, we're having a hard time, just the way the data is coming into the system, separating based on class. So Creovia is working with Erskine, working with Power School so that we can work through that issue. In the meantime, there's some grace because our upper school teachers are still utilizing email as well as Announce. Facility updates, really exciting. This is our first official board meeting back since we made the announcement in December of all the exciting updates and construction that will begin for ALA Lexington. I spoke with Charter One Development today, and they are working with the design professionals to begin construction. They just had a meeting with OSF this afternoon, so things are rolling along. Blythewood, as we were there visiting the campus today, we got to see that it is a lot of the land has been leveled so that we can begin construction on the gym and the athletic facilities. So we're on target and we'll keep the board updated.
Abby, can I
Yeah.
ask one question as we're talking about Lexington? While we're in this mode of increasing enrollment and all of those things, I'd love to see if we could put signage on the, like on number 6 on the
Mhm.
fences, you know, talking about developing and, you know, some positive.
Yes, some positive advertising for the upcoming developments to
Right.
yeah, agreed.
I did see the billboard on 378 this week. So I think that's exciting. But again, just speaking to, you know, the upcoming development here on campus. I
Athletic
think-
facilities.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
idea.
And
Yep.
I think some of that is in the works. I'm gonna as you're saying that though, I want to just touch base with marketing and figure out what types of assets like we're rolling out in terms of marketing for this, just digital or physical or banners or things like that. So happy to
But we'll
follow up
push
on
with
that.
the development team to make sure that renderings get completed quickly.
Right.
So
Okay.
that we
And that
can-
they're the
so
ones
that we
that
can
we're using.
show them.
Yeah.
Well, right now, we are finalizing the construction.
Yeah.
Plans and
Yeah.
everything, so there might still be variations just as we go through the, just the architectural process and then working with OSF and getting permitting. There might be some changes, but site renderings showing the football field, there's a lot that we can kind of play with right there, and then getting big banners on the fences and everything would be really good. So.
And a lot of that was underway even prior, just in preparation for what we anticipated happening in December. Jim and his team were actively working on that. So I think we're just that much further ahead and being able to have something solidified. Yeah. Yes, happy to. All right, a little bit about enrollment. So the Blythewood numbers that you see here for K through 12, those are applications. Notifications are going out this week. So we've already had people accept their seats just in the 2 days since we have sent out notifications. Open enrollment ended on the 15th. So took a little bit to get all the data sorted, and now the notices are going out. So in total, of course, I think we were at 1391 in terms of applications for Blythewood. We do anticipate every time we have an event, an info session, we see an uptick. And so we anticipate with Meet the Director and the info sessions that will follow, we'll just continue to see those numbers rise. For Lexington, I'm so sorry. Give me just 2 seconds. Let me flip to our total enrollment numbers for Lexington for K-12 is 1681. And then what you also see is the applications, the 262 are in addition. So we will send an intent to return survey to all of our families in the spring to kind of help us lock down who's returning. And that gives us a little bit better number and projection as we go into the next school year. I know this has been a question in the past, so just some of the withdrawal reasons, although I can say that it has really slowed down, but some of the withdrawal reasons since the turn of the semester, it's really just a few returning to homeschooling, some moving out of the country. And so, like I said, in the last week or so, we have not had any withdrawals, but it's pretty typical for us to see some at the turn of the semester. And those were the reasons that our Aero team was provided. And then, yeah, applications, like I said, the notices are going out. So we're excited to see already people are eagerly accepting their seats. Okay, academics. So end of course, at the end of the first semester, we had 13 students who received a perfect score on their end of course. It's really, really incredible. Some things to note too, we saw 20% growth on the US History EOC compared to the end of last year, and 76% of our students tested proficient in English too. So again, just some really positive academic growth that we're seeing, particularly at the upper school. We're excited about that. We have all of our directors in the region attending an in-person director meeting on February 6th. So this will be really, really great for, now we'll have 4 director representatives from South Carolina in attendance, and this is a good opportunity for them to network with other ALA directors just to better understand how to implement the mission, vision, and values, as well as some of the practical things that they need going into the end of the school year. And then we are also sending our directors to various career fairs across the state as we begin the season of onboarding and looking for new instructional talent. So I think the first one, guys and everybody, you can have your emotions be what they will, but it's the University of South Carolina. I know there's a division there, but They will be going to that career fair on the 4th, and then we have a few more coming up in February and March.
Abby, forgive
Yeah.
my ignorance, but when you say 13 students received perfect scores on EOCs, is that subject specific or is that?
Yes, it is subject specific, and I don't have the subjects
Okay,
offhand,
I
but
was
yeah.
just curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just whatever course they were testing in, there were 13 students who received a perfect score.
Okay.
Pretty awesome. And that is it for the campus report. Any questions?
Not really a question, more of a call out, just because I'm looking back at my notes from August, we were sitting at 1878 for total enrollment.
Mhm.
Now we're at 1681, almost 200 students.
Yeah.
That we've lost, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I know you guys are working your hardest just to call out that probably need to.
Well, I think too, we have tried to really find if there was one source and,
Right.
that's the hardest thing is we could not find one reason. There wasn't an event or a situation that we saw this mass exodus. It has been a trickle.
Yeah.
Now, as we've spoken, we know that there is a strong desire in the community for the facilities.
Right.
So we're excited, to your point, Whitney, to really launch into, here are all the exciting things that are up and coming, and make sure that the community is aware so that it we get that return enrollment. That's
Yeah.
really what we're hoping to see. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
And I'll just add as well, in all of our interviews that we've been doing for Blythewood to try and fill the director positions and everything, several of those conversations turned into Lexington, right? Just because they live here, they saw how it goes. And one of the interview questions that I like to ask is just like, how do you plan on helping with enrollment? Like, what are your strategies and different things out there? And it always kind of came back to Lexington. And there was a few individuals who gave some interesting takes on, hey, like my church congregation, all of the youth went to Lexington year one. Now they're back at their school, but they're all telling me that they're coming back to Lexington again. And it's interesting seeing it from the outside perspective on what were the drivers. And so I tried digging in like, okay, what do you know the reason? It's just like driveline was a big one year one, right? Like you know that. So I'm like, okay, tell me something I don't know. But fixing it. But it just kind of goes back to there hasn't been a single thing. And I think we're such a unique opportunity for South Carolina, a K-12 campus of this magnitude. There's still a lot of training and just for people to understand what we are, that things take longer to receive. And I think it's just more of an impatience thing all around. Just, I didn't get what I wanted right now, so I'm going to go. And it's just kind of the accessibility culture. Whatever I can get now is what I'm going to go to. So if there's a better football program at Lexington 1, then that's what I'm going to do. So we're optimistic for the future. I think there's good indicators that enrollment's going to go up. This was a heavy topic during the bond process where we were reviewing the enrollment. And so we definitely have eyes on it, and it's something that we're attacking really hard.
But I feel like these challenges just always in the end make us better. We're aware that we sit in Lexington 1 district. And so
This is one of the better. I mean, South Carolina is not really known for education in general, but you're sitting in one of the better
Right.
ones in the
So
state. So if they don't get exactly what they want here, they keep
Right.
us out, and they most likely
and
get close to what they want besides
Yeah.
the raised values because of
Yeah.
the law, for sure.
and two, if
Versus
you've got
anywhere else.
tenured campuses that have been around for 10 years and they have all the facilities, right? Then you pick and choose what you're willing to sacrifice as a parent. And that's totally, we understand, but we also have faith and we know the product. And so marry the product with the facilities, the programs, and make sure the community knows that and we'll get there. We will get there. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you hit on the process of?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So this is the first ALA where it is written in the charter that we are going to do sort of this annual review. So we have a structure in terms of like a preliminary survey that we're building to send out to all the board members, so we can get individual thoughts and assessments. It's going through final reviews and approvals, but I don't anticipate that we wouldn't have it ready by May is when we're,
No.
when we're,
And right now, what we're trying to focus on is the board is very intimate with Lexington. You know the issues, you know all of those things. And so a review of the Lexington directors would be a lot more in depth than they will be of Blythewood or down the line of Greenville. And so we're trying to get the template set up to where it is consistent, and it's something that the board would be able to fairly evaluate a director on to have that level of distance that is appropriate for a board. So we're trying to keep that in mind and just make sure that the structure is appropriate and that we don't have to keep changing it every year of like, well, I don't know how to answer this because I'm not familiar enough with.
I don't live
that
close
campus.
to, yeah.
Do you mind if I kind of add to that? So one thing that's going to be pretty difficult. Hi, by the way, Mitch. I didn't get to talk to you before, so.
Yes,
good to
of
see you
course,
in
but I
person for
have
the
met
first
you
time.
before.
Yeah, just online usually. So,
Yeah.
but one of the things I want to kind of highlight, so the transition going from Lexington to others, we're very intimately connected with Lexington, is you all know as well as I do, when you're that close, you hear things through a grapevine on certain issues that don't come up through the channels. And so it's going to be very difficult early on to be able to keep that stuff out as you evaluate and set on the things that are coming through the official pipelines. You know what I mean? It'll be easy to do that when you're grading directors at other campuses across the state. It'll be really easy to do the macro. And the reason I bring that up is if you happen to make decisions based on the item that comes through the grapevine and not through those channels, if it were ever to be, and you make an official decision on that, and it was ever challenged, and it wasn't, and it was based on information not through those channels, that liability line gets really mixed up. So it's just it's going to be a difficult game early on, but as time goes on, it'll be easier and easier and easier. So it's just something I want to bring up, just because as everyone's crafting these things, we're trying to keep it as macro as possible for the evaluation, because otherwise we could get into that game where it crosses through those barriers. So just a little bit of context there.
But I think, so May is a busy month. The board has elections and, the last couple of Mays have been
The elections
busy
were
for-
changed, that's gonna be in August now, right?
That's for, just the board officers.
Oh, yes,
That's
sorry, yes,
Yeah.
okay.
It's all confusing.
so.
I mean, I will say, I think we would appreciate it if we saw it before May, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that way, we're like, oh, like we have thoughts
Yeah.
to put on it. So even if you can bring a draft.
Yep.
Maybe.
Mhm.
Yep.
or some-
Happy.
I think like return to us in May, so we get it
Yeah.
at a time and
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can work on it through the month or whatever. all
And I
that.
think we shouldn't, I agree with you, Mitch. I don't think we should lead by emotions. I think that's how a lot of things get twisted, how we aren't maintaining consistency. But I think we have a lot of really good metrics that are already made available to us, like exit interviews by students, exit interviews by admin, by teachers, climate survey scores, Star 360 scores. I think having access or I don't want to say more dashboard because that makes me sound like I work in IT, but I do. But like a dashboard of sorts to be able to like see I think if that could be made available by Charter One to the board on a consistent basis with each of that would help us evaluate each campus. Those are hard metrics that, like, if you have a mass exodus, we obviously need to evaluate the director differently than,
Yeah.
But it also makes us so that we're more data driven.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to lead by emotion on any of this, and I want to make sure that we create a sustainable model. But not including facts that are already provided to us would be silly. So
Yeah.
if we could have those included, if we could have that from Charter One, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Do you
I-
think we could have a draft by next meeting? Even if we know.
When's the next meeting?
The
Next
next
month.
meeting's February. I was gonna say,
Every month is TBD right now. We're starting off.
would it be acceptable if we said March for sure? And then if we have it done before, yeah.
Then we could have any changes, updates, augmentations that we kind of feel might need to
Yeah.
be made, done by April, have it agreed on by
Yeah.
April, and then that gives us time to
Implement
be
in
good to
May.
go for May.
Yep, that works.
That would be awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yep. Okay, that actually concludes the campus.
All right, up next is our finance report from Trevor Dunn.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hello.
Nice to see you all. Good to be with you. Abby, I just sent you the presentation. It should be at the top of your inbox if you want to.
I will, let's
That'd be
see if you're right. Let's see if it's at the top. It is. Okay, perfect. Yep, I will present. Give me just one moment. Sorry, lost my mouse.
No, you're good.
Okay, there we go.
Okay. Well, kind of while Abby's pulling that up, so each of you have the detailed reports. I'll just walk you through just a summary, and then we can get into details if there are questions. In terms of just key messages, right? Just a reminder for everyone, the amended budget that we approved last October is based on 1720 enrollments, and that delivers 3.7 million in EBITDA. As we just talked about enrollment, we're currently sitting at around 1683 or so, maybe 1681, which is down another, down about 23 from when we met last. As we get into school year 27, we'll really need that to grow at least north of 1900 in order for us to be able to meet our financial requirements at that point. So really appreciate anything and everything that the campus can do and all of us at Charter One to grow enrollment, north of that 1900 number. Obviously, we have a new capital structure for the school. With the bond that passed, that went through, that was purchased in December, that replaces our lease. And in this first 6 months of 2026, that's going to deliver about $1 million worth of positive cash flow, as the bond payments will be lower than what our lease payments were. That's driven by a few things. One being that inside of the bond, there's some capitalized interest, which lowers the payment during the first year, as well as it being interest only initially. And so bondholders do that just to help with that transition and to give us a little bit more breathing room and wiggle room here in the first year. And so that's positive. And so we're in a good place right now. And as I mentioned, we'll just need to continue to grow enrollment north of 1900. We did make our first payment to UMB. We'll make a monthly payment this year of, for the next 6 months or so through June, of about $100,000 a month. And so that will continue on as we get into July, then it'll go up. Okay. In terms of days cash on hand and debt service coverage ratio, so those will be two very important metrics that we'll want to keep an eye on and that we'll be watching very closely. So, as a finance team, we will give you reports on our forecast for those. With the bond, we now have covenants that we need to hit. And for our debt service coverage ratio, we're forecasting to end this school year 26 at a 1.4 times where we, in terms of the target, so versus the requirement of 1.1. So we actually don't really have a requirement in school year 26. We do need to report it, but bondholders don't require us to hit 1.10, meaning for every dollar that we have in debt service, we need to make sure we generate $1.10 to be able to cover it. So we're thinking that we'll generate about $1.40 this school year so far. So we'll be watching DSCR very closely, as well as cash on hand. So the number of days cash on hand that we will need to provide will be 45 days. And similar to DSCR, we won't have to do that for school year 26 in terms of covenants. We will report it, but we don't have to hit 45 days until June 30th, 2027. So we think we'll finish this year at 60 days. And so we're currently sitting on about $2 million of unrestricted cash, and that's 35 days cash on hand, and that will continue to grow this year. As I mentioned, that the bond payments are less than what the lease payments were, and so that's driving that. So we're in good shape this year. As we look at the budget, so we had the cost of the issuance, we had that fully hit, and so that was about $700,000, and so that's going into our budget and is showing as a variance for school year 26. Any questions thus far? Okay. Abby, if you want to just go to the next page. This is the summary of the budget that we discussed and that was passed in October. I just like showing this just to remind everybody this is the budget that we're working off of. And so you can see it's based on the 1720 enrollments generating about 22.3 million in revenue. The down arrows represent the costs. And so you can see, we expect to end the year, generating about 1.1 million positive cash flow, and we should hit our DCOH and our DSCR this year. Okay, this next page, page 3. So this is just our budget versus actuals year to date. So right now, in terms of revenue, we have collected 11.6 million in revenue. This is all revenue sources. And our budget, where we thought we would be at this time of year, was closer to 11.1. So we're about $500,000 ahead of schedule collecting revenue, which is great. Our accounting team has done a great job of invoicing and collecting revenues across the different entities, and so we're trending well there. I think it will just level out over time. It doesn't mean that we'll have extra money at the end of the year, just that we've just done a good job, I think, of collecting it. So revenue is looking good thus far, as well as labor. So we had budgeted to be at about 5.7 million in labor, and we've spent about 5.6. And so we're right where we need to be. And so there's no variance there. And then in terms of just kind of everything else, I mentioned the cost of issuance for the bond is driving the increase there. So we're over a little bit, but I think things will even out as time goes on. Okay, if there's no questions. In terms of next steps, really appreciate the board allocating time for us to talk finances. Jeff and I will continue to come and answer any questions that you might have. We're fully committed to giving you any information that you would like. And so you'll continue to see us. We just need to continue to grow enrollment so that we're in a good place going forward. And I really appreciate all the work that the campuses have done, both the upper and the lower school have done great, embracing our purchasing culture around purchase orders and just improving the internal controls that we have on the campuses. So I think that's shown up in our spending. And then campuses have the ability to monitor their spending real time using our financial system called Intact. And so directors have login information and information on where the reports are. And so that allows them to verify funds if they have questions about where they're at budget-wise. So unless there's other questions, that's all that I have for today for the board.
Any questions?
Thank you.
So right now.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Talk to y'all soon.
Thank you. That concludes the reports. So we will move on to our action items. Up first is the approval of the elective courses for ALA Lexington and Blythewood. This is an annual requirement by our authorizer Erskine. Only new courses for Lexington, for Lexington and Blythewood would be AP Calculus, BC Prep Lab Honors, AP, physical prep lab honors, weightlifting, all the other elective courses are renewal requests that have been previously approved by the board. So is there a motion to approve the elective courses?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. Then our second action item is to consider 2 new ALA board candidates to fill current board vacancies. First up is Mr. Alex Knowles, who I saw joined us online a few minutes ago. Mr. Knowles would be filling an open appointed seat. The board has had time to review his credentials and was given the opportunity to meet him, and he's been vetted by Charter 1. So is there a motion to approve the appointment of Alex Knowles to fill the open seat for the remainder of the term through June 2026?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay. Well, welcome, Mr. Alex Knowles, to the ALA board. Next up is Mr. Jeremy Kelly, who is here with us in person today. Mr. Kelly would be filling an open elected seat, and per our bylaws, your seat is filled by a board election. The board has had time to review his credentials, and he has been vetted by Charter 1 as well. So is there a motion for the board to elect Jeremy Kelly to our open seat?
I'll make a motion.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. With that, the motion carries. Welcome to the board, Mr. Jeremy Kelly. The next up is our announcements. The next board meeting is going to be at the ALA Blythewood campus. The date is still being nailed down because of some conflicts that came up, so that will be announced as soon as we have the certainty there. And so we hope when it gets announced that we see you there. And at this point, we will be moving into closed session to discuss confidential matters. So I want to thank any family and community members who are here, which is not a big crowd today. But we do have to ask you to step out while we meet in closed session. So unless our agenda is amended, which we don't expect, but it's always possible, we have completed all public agenda items. You're welcome to wait in the hall, and once we return to open session, we'll invite you back. So thank you for your understanding. I think you're only, I was gonna say, if you want to wait so you can talk to everyone after, you're welcome to. I cannot give you a timeline, but I don't expect it to be long.
Okay. Jordan, then if you guys are.
away by the fact that we're paying more for something we're not seeing with grading and parking. Athletic fields that, like everybody wants.
Get me.
It really is, right? Like, you're just like, I know it has to happen. I know the due diligence and stuff, but you're like, those numbers are like really hard to see.
Well,
On that one.
is there any further business?
I would just like to make one comment. So, yeah, I'll be fast. So yesterday we got to do the walkthroughs with, Mr. Teepers and with, Miss Davis at the lower school. And I just want to say how great I thought Miss Davis did. I was really encouraged to walk through and see, statistics on the walls, like trackers that students, parents, anybody coming in can see and see progress. And it was really encouraging. And I'd love to see if we can implement things like that here at the upper school, get students to buy into, this is my future. I want to take ownership. I want to, see how I can make improvements and growth. And so anyway, just a thought.
Absolutely.
And the more we can push those positive, like 13 perfect scores on social media or wherever, I think that's really key.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so you know too, that's one of the highlights that we have when we have these large director meetings is we actually do breakout sessions with upper and lower school directors and vice versa and kind of do some mixed opportunities so they can hear the best practices that are going on in other schools. And so to that, to your point, yeah, we have those again, best practices, those strategies, those incentives that are going on to really get students excited about doing their best, because that's really what we want them to do. Is we want them to see this as an opportunity, not that we're testing them to death, but as an opportunity to show what they know. And so sometimes it's a little harder to motivate upper schoolers.
I know it's
So
to incentivize young people than it is, high schoolers,
but we've seen it done really well. And so that's what I was saying. Like we're actually in February. That is one of the focuses that we're doing is we're pulling in some directors who have just done an exemplary job and hoping, that through that other people now feel empowered. Like, okay, now I know how to do it. They may not just like totally grasp the games or the incentives or initiatives. Others do. And so it's good to share those practices. And that's one of our focuses: testing environment, testing incentives, testing strategies. So as we go into this latter half of the year, we're really framing it in a positive way because it does impact student outcomes. It 100% does impact how they'll do it. So,
But to carry on to that, no, the statistics in the elementary, the kindergartners and the fifth graders, they don't understand what those statistics are. It's for the teachers.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
it's accountability metrics for the teachers to grade themselves and to be competitive. And
Yes.
so
Yep.
I love seeing that as well. It's a good practice that we definitely want to see carried forward.
And I was talking to Mitch yesterday, when we were walking back up to the upper school and just, he was talking about how the culture here in South Carolina is very different and, which we all know. Anyway, I think the big driver for families looking at ALA, the number one reason is the moral and wholesome.
Mhm.
Academics are a very close second, but they're not the driver necessarily. So, honing in on that and then really promoting how awesome the curriculum and student achievement can be, I think is great.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. 100%.
Well, before we close, I would just like to say as a mom, my son is one of those 13.
Yeah. That's so awesome.
Very exciting.
Great job.
And so if there's not any further business, okay, hearing none, meeting is adjourned.
That makes sense. Thank you.